Welcome to our executive interview series at AITalks, presented by AIScoop. I'm Wyatt Cash, and I'm here with Ann Dunkin, Chief Information Officer at the Department of Energy. Ann, thank you, as always, for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here, Wyatt.
So, first question for you is, what have been the biggest challenges in implementing AI in government and government services since last year? And how is the Department of Energy approaching these challenges?
You know what, AI, well, generative AI and large language models kind of came out of left field. It's not like we didn't know they existed, but I think everyone was sort of shocked at how fast GPT just showed up and was everywhere. And so I think everyone was a little behind the curve in terms of how we would manage AI in government. And so I think the biggest challenge was setting up guardrails, understanding what people were using, making sure people understood what they could use, understanding the difference between a proprietary model that lives inside your internal corporate network or government network versus one that's out in the public. And how do those models operate? So some vendors use their model and they don't train on your data. So they don't ingest your data. They just give you an answer. Other models are constantly learning and ingesting your data. And so if you go and use a public model and you don't know what it is, you know, that makes a big challenge because you might be putting your data out in that model unintentionally. So we had to educate our employees as to how to appropriately use those models, what models are appropriate to use, what weren't. We set up a sandbox internal to DOE so that we could say, here, you can go use these models, and they're safe, and you can put your data there. But there's also other challenges at DOE that are different than other places, right? AI is part of our research agenda. So we can't just say, oh, don't use these things. These are unsafe, don't use them, because we're going to do research in AI. We need to be able to have our labs, plants, and sites, primarily our labs, access those models for research because they're going to be not only using AI to enable their research, but they're also actually be doing research to make AI better and more effective. And so we had to make sure that our rules didn't make that impossible for anybody, which is why we have two people responsible for AI policy and governance at DOE. We've got someone on the science side and someone on the IT side so that we can look at those two very different problems as different problems with different solutions and meet everybody's needs, because our broad enterprise always has very different needs.
Makes a lot of sense, and an innovative approach to having kind of a dual approach on that, I think. And then that leads me to my next question, which is kind of looking ahead. And what are your plans or predictions for the role of AI in government services and at DOE in the coming year or so? And how do you see it evolving from there?
So the role, the future of, I'm starting to go going, wow, yeah. Big question. I saw it before, still a big question. So the future of AI at DOE, the next year, the next 5 years, 10 years, I think it's very organic. And that's how we do research and how we work at DOE in general. So one of our goals is to not let the rules get in the way of that organic development of how we use things. So I think we'll start to see people using AI to improve our processes and improve their individual day-to-day jobs. But to do that, we need to get the tools and capabilities in for them to do that. We really don't have that yet, where they can really go to that model, again, a safe model in a place they can use daily. We have those sandboxes, but that's really not designed for daily use. So I think, but we're going to see that extended learning about AI. We're hoping to get some broader AI capabilities delivered, and we're hoping to have some news about that soon. We're not quite there yet. So there's that, but there's also, I think, a proliferation of AI in research. And I think that's where it's going to have the biggest impact on DOE, is as researchers start to use AI to improve their research projects. Keep in mind that all scientific research now is computational research. And that means that every researcher, no matter what they do, they write code and they analyze data. And AI is a tremendous opportunity for both those things to, number one, write better code, because frankly, a lot of us don't write great code. A lot of scientists really don't write great code because they do that not because it's their job, but because it enables their job. It's sort of like writing a grant proposal. It enables their job. It's not their core of what they do. So help them write better code, but it can also help them do better data analytics. And we're starting to see the value of AI in terms of really accelerating research. So an example is P&L collaborated with Microsoft to evaluate new battery components. So they were looking at what chemicals would be best for new batteries, and they took about 20 years worth of research and compressed it into a few months by using AI to reduce the number of candidate materials for that. And so those are the kind of things we're going to start to see, is even just very quickly, because scientists and engineers who are on the cutting edge adapt new technologies really quickly. We're going to quickly see them developing those new capabilities using AI to accelerate their research.
It's a great example, and particularly exciting for the Department of Energy in the sense that you have a lot of research labs under your purview. So it'll be exciting to see just how much AI really leverages that. So, well, Ann Duncan, as always, thank you so much for joining us here at AI Talks.
Thank you, Wyatt. It's a pleasure.